podcast by BidX. I'm your host, Joie Roberts. Today, I am joined by Liran Hirschkorn, founder of Incrementum Digital, and a leader who isn't afraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. After scaling multiple Amazon brands to 7 figures, Liran built Incrementum Digital to help other sellers win with expert advertising and strategy. Liran, welcome to the Adventure Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
All right. Recently on LinkedIn, you had a post that was really impactful and I saw tons of comments. So I want to jump in with that. It's a hot topic. It's going to be a hot topic through 2025. How about the imports and the tariffs and the elimination of the duty free under 800? What's going on there?
Yeah. So this is this loophole in the tax law has been around for, I think, like 100 years, and there's been a lot of talk over time of closing that loophole, but nobody did it. And I think this closure of the loophole is ultimately really good for US based Amazon sellers. Basically, what the loophole allows is sending a package that has a value of less than $800 from China into the US without paying the tariff, the customs duty. So what this allows Chinese sellers, and not just Chinese sellers, but Temu and Shein to do, is basically ship from China really cheap products and not have to pay the duty on them, as opposed to if they imported them into the US in like larger quantities, right, of over $800 by air or by boat, they would have to pay duty on it. So it allows them to essentially charge less for that product because they don't have to pay the duty. Now that's going to change, which is obviously bad for US based sellers because you're competing with those lower prices direct out of China. So this is good for US based sellers. I think it's going to cause also, at least in the short term, some shipping delays. I saw an article out that said, hey, if you're planning on ordering something for your Valentine from Temu or Shein, you might want to hold back because there's going to be all these packages that now may be stopped for inspection, looking at the value, etc., all these things, and so that might delay shipping times. Also. So I think ultimately this is a really good thing, and as a result, you'll probably see prices have to increase for products on Shein and Temu, and then also Amazon Haul, which is Amazon's version of sort of the Amazon store that's competing with Temu and Shein. The same thing will be it's all products under $20 shipped direct from China, from an Amazon warehouse in China, and prices there will likely have to go up too, which is also good for sellers on Amazon that are not based in China, like US based sellers, etc. So ultimately, I think it's really good that this loophole was closed.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So it is good for US sellers because we always talk about, and especially going forward this year, like how are you going to compete with Chinese sellers on price? And this is going to at least delay their shipping, right? I mean, it's going to really hurt them.
I think it's not going to be as easy, and they will have to raise prices somewhat. I think you still will have that competition of shipping out of China because they still can price cheaply, cheap, and if you have a $7 phone case and even if you have a 20% additional, now that they have to pay or whatever, right now it's like 8 something, right? So whatever. So you still may have cheap products, and Shein and Temu won't die because of it, but it certainly takes away one advantage that they've been taken care of in the market. What it will do also likely is it will, I think if I'm Temu or Shein or any of the Chinese companies shipping out of China, it would kind of push me to do more in the U.S. in terms of warehousing products and shipping faster. And Temu is already doing that. They're already recruiting also U.S. based sellers, and they already have local shipping from within the U.S. And it probably prompts them to do more to compete with Amazon in general with shipping from within the U.S. And maybe relying less on shipping direct from China. So it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic changes. And one of the additional things that went into effect is an additional 10% tariff overall, just an increase in the tariffs overall from China. So it's kind of a mixed bag that will affect a lot of Amazon sellers. I'm a partner in a brand that has a product right now that's on the water from coming in from China. So I'm assuming that's going to, have that 10% additional tariff coming in, which may mean we need to price higher when the product comes in. So, these things are going to take effect, and we'll see how it affects, the overall market and, an economy.
Yes, it will. And when supply, demand, and tariffs change, we do see prices go up. And
Right.
when you have a higher priced product, like you're selling around $100, $200 on Amazon, it's great. You have more margin. When you
Right.
have those lower priced products, it gets squeezed and advertising becomes even more important, right? Because
Right.
that's where, the breath of your company comes from is advertising.
Right.
And yeah, so we're all going to have to really watch that all. I sell as well. All of us sellers are going to have to watch that. And I keep thinking that I would just want to keep launching more expensive products. Although it's not that easy, right? I act like it's easy, but
Right.
there's an art to
Yeah.
that.
I mean, you definitely need more, there's pros and cons. You need more capital, but I mean, I like the idea of also launching, higher price products and just things that have a more of a barrier to entry than, especially like if you look at like Haul, for example, Amazon's store, it's all under $20 products shipped from China, right? So I would be avoiding that, $20 and under price point, not to, so I don't have to compete with that, or look to source products elsewhere also. There's a lot happening in Vietnam and India. I just read an article on, what counts as actually made in Vietnam, because you can actually source like components of a product from China, and there's many Chinese factory owners that also own factories in Vietnam now, and they send components. And then if you make enough of a material difference from those components into a new product, you can't just assemble it in Vietnam and call it made in Vietnam. But if you take the raw material, like, for example, you take a steel rod and you turn it into a bike, that counts. You substantially change it, or you add more materials, etc. So, I think sellers need to, it's been talked about for years, it's not a new thing, but need to see if it's possible to diversify your supply chain out of China, because I think things are only going to heat up with China. At the same time, I can see how Trump is using tariffs as a negotiation tactic, and so I think if he puts enough pain on China from tariffs, then maybe he will get them to commit to buy more U.S. products. And if they buy more U.S. products, then he might roll back some of the tariffs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think everything that's in play right now with tariffs is set in stone. We saw a 24-hour crisis with Mexico and Canada, and then it was put on hold, right? In terms of tariffs, because it was used as a negotiation tactic for better border control. So I think it's going to be an interesting year in terms of like everything that happens. But in general, if you're able to diversify out of China, then I think it's worthwhile to relook at that, because it's risky to source there while having options to source from somewhere else.
Yes, great advice. I agree. Definitely want to, we always say diversify, but now is like the real time. Like keep your suppliers in China, but also have backup. And I learned that the hard way when I was selling, that I have to, in 2021, when supply and demand was rough, I was like, I have to have backup in other ways to serve my customers, especially on Amazon, because you have to get the shipping out extremely fast.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Let's jump into Incrementum's digital, your success and your formula, because you work with a lot of powerhouse Amazon brands, and you've been doing this a long time. Like you've been kind of, I would say, like identifying and bridging gaps on how brands can evolve with Amazon advertising.
Yeah. I started selling on Amazon myself now going back to 2014, which is crazy to think about, that it's like going into the 11th year, being on this platform, and so much has changed. But yeah, I think and we do work with like a wide range of brands. So we see a lot of different brands in different categories, and brands of different sizes, and how they're navigating Amazon, from a brand doing let's say $2 million a year on Amazon to a brand doing $85 million a year on Amazon, right? So like a wide variety. It's I would say, in terms of advertising, there's a lot of interesting things that are happening. One thing about our philosophy, and I think this probably goes very much in line with BidX too, is going granular. And I think the more granular you go in your campaign setup and keyword research, and how you're segmenting your campaigns, the more control and better results you can have. One interesting thing that we are leaning into right now, and that we're testing, is Amazon Marketing Cloud for sponsored products. So you probably heard, if you're listening to this, you've probably heard rhetoric about Amazon Marketing Cloud, like for the last few years, all the time. You've been hearing this term for the last at least couple of years, and for a lot of sellers and brands, it hasn't been applicable, because it's generally been something more related to the DSP side, and a lot of people don't run DSP. Some people don't believe in DSP, etc. And it hasn't necessarily been applicable, but now it's becoming applicable. So I'll break down a little bit like what's happening, what the Amazon Marketing Cloud is, and why it should become a focus of yours this year. Or at least right now, actually. So Amazon Marketing Cloud essentially is a data warehouse that has all of your sales, your orders, your clients, your information, the data around them. It's all that data is put in like what's called like an AWS bucket, which is essentially like just cloud storage of all that data. And then Amazon allows you to use that data in a variety of ways. So one thing they allow you to do with AMC, and now they have this information also in the console, advertising console, is they allow you to see the path to conversion. So with advertising on Amazon, and actually most platforms, the attribution always goes to the last click, or if it's like a display ad that's view-based, last view. So that means if somebody today searches my brand, clicks on sponsored product, and then tomorrow they search my brand and they click on a sponsored display ad, the attribution, and then they buy, the attribution will go to the sponsored display ad. The original click on the sponsored product ad the day before will just look like wasted spend. But in reality, that's the original way that they found my brand, and it has a part in the sales process. So Amazon Marketing Cloud will show you that path to conversion, what ad types people interacted with on their way to purchasing, which is valuable to see how different ad types work together and what your customer purchase rate is when somebody is exposed to, multiple ad types. But the other thing you could do with Amazon Marketing Cloud is you can query using SQL. You can query the data and create audiences with it. Now, up until now, it's only been available for DSP. So you'd be able to take the data you have and say, okay, which of my clients have added to cart but haven't purchased? And then be able to take that audience and be able to target a DSP ad to that audience. Or which of my customers have purchased, 2 or 3 times and are not subscribe and save customers, let's say. And you'll be able to take that data and then target them maybe with a DSP ad that says subscribe and save, right? Now Amazon is allowing you to take these audiences and use them in sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display. So for example, one interesting audience that you can create is you can say, I want to look at people who have, let's say you're a supplement brand, your product is $30 on average, and you say, I want to take people that have bought from me in the last year and on average have spent like $100 with me, so they bought multiple times. And I want to now take and create a lookalike audience from those customers. So, Facebook has been allowing you to create lookalike audiences for years. Now Amazon is allowing you to create lookalike audience. So people profile on like shoppers who look very similar to this type of customer. And I can put that audience in my sponsored products and I can bid on a keyword and I can tell Amazon, when you bid on, vitamin C, for this audience, instead of my regular bid, increase that bid by 50% or increase that bid by 10% or whatever it is. And now I get to target this like audience that is more targeted, not just anybody searching for vitamin C. It's this like lookalike audience, people who already buy from me, and I can bid higher for that audience. And I could do that with sponsored brands. I can show them a display ad. I can take people who have abandoned cart. I could take, existing customers and show them an ad. I could do so much with this, but now you can do all this with sponsored products. And so now for the first time, like Amazon Marketing Cloud is becoming relevant to anybody selling on Amazon. And this is something we just started experimenting with over the last couple weeks, where we're creating these audiences for our clients, and increasing bids. Another new thing is the B2B bid increase, which allows you also to bid higher for business customers on Amazon. Something also that you should experiment with. Amazon gives you that data on how your brand is performing for business customers, and you can increase your placement there too. It's especially good if you have a product that, I was talking a week or so ago with a very successful brand that sells like painting supplies, right? So they sell like a 5-pack of like brushes and things like that. And that's like a perfect product, right? Where, somebody who's got a painting, company and he's got 10 painters or whatever working for him or whatever, he's going to want to buy, a bunch of them, right? So you can increase your bid and show higher if that person has an Amazon business account. So it seems to me like the direction of where things are going is ultimately like more personalized search results, where if I'm a customer on Amazon, you're a customer on Amazon, and we both search for vitamin C, we shouldn't necessarily see the same results. I was one of my neighbors the other day was saying how they shop on Amazon and they do a search for something, and then they immediately filter for lowest to highest in terms of price, right? I never search that way,
No.
right?
No.
Personally, right? I look at the reviews, look for the best sellers, look at, a variety of things, right? But that's how they search. And there's probably a lot of people who search that way. Well, Amazon should just show her the results that way if they recognize that behavior, right? And her page for vitamin C in theory should look different than my page. But over time, with the ability to better target with advertising, I think what's going to, and AI, like people using AI more, then ultimately I think it's going to kind of change where results are a little bit more personalized, and less the same for two people searching the same keyword. So I think it's going to get interesting, and this is something you definitely should be experimenting with. For AMC, you do need to work with a partner. So, for example, like BidX, right? You need a tool, or you need an agency like ours, but you generally don't have direct access to AMC. So it's worthwhile looking. If you don't have a tech, a software or an agency, to look into your options on how to get access to the Amazon Marketing Cloud.
Yes, the Amazon Marketing Cloud. I love how you explained it. And it's the advertising game in general. People know that it's getting more expensive. But with AMC, as you were explaining, you can figure out where you wasted ad spend and how you can maximize your spend on people who are actually going to purchase your product.
Yes.
Instead
Yeah,
of just
exactly.
casting a wide net.
Exactly. And, I think, I was kind of thinking about like, how did this come about? And, I'm thinking like, you had some Amazon executives, they're sitting in a room and they're trying to figure out like, okay, maybe cost per click is plateauing like in general, right? Because the market will only pay so much, right? And like fees are going up and all these things. So how can we get people to increase their bids? And so by giving people better targeted audience, ultimately you would expect the conversion rate to go up. And if your conversion rate goes up, then you can increase the amount that you're paying. And that's kind of what I think is the opportunity. Yes, you might have to bid higher for those audiences, but your conversion rate should be a lot better between a lookalike audience of somebody that's already bought from your brand versus anyone searching, or your abandoned carts, or these kind of like specific audiences that you can utilize. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think it's a very innovative from Amazon. The whole thing is really really amazing from Amazon, your ability to be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely time to push it all forward. What with AMC, what do you recommend brands, like what level should they start with? Meaning, like, do they need to be spending a certain amount of ad dollars? Do they need to have a specific conversion rate? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I would say, yeah, in general, like, I don't think this would be for somebody like starting out, because you need to have a certain audience of existing people who have bought from you, right? So you should have, a successful product. You should have something that's generating, a meaningful amount of sales. So I would say, yeah, you're probably, if you're looking into this, more of an established seller, more of an established brand. I don't know about spending, but I imagine that even if you're spending 5 to 10K a month, that you should be able to test the Amazon Marketing Cloud. Obviously, the more you're spending, the more impactful it could be, and also the more orders and data you have, the better the data you have within the Amazon Marketing Cloud in general across your brand and products. But I think there's opportunity for a lot of people to to test it even at small scales. What we're doing is, what we're starting with the test is, as far as like increasing the bids, we're just starting with a 10% increase in the bids. We're starting slow. We're not going, okay, I take this audience and like increase 100%. We're starting slow in terms of the increase, seeing like the placements and data, and then if that goes well, see if we can continue to increase based on like what the conversion rates are, what the ACoS is. So that's kind of what how we're doing it. But we're our goal is to implement it across all our clients, and we have clients that spend from $10,000 a month to $1 million a month. So like, and our goal is to roll it out for everybody. So I think there's I think a wide opportunity, but yeah, you want to be somewhat like established in terms of like your brand or your sales.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to jump in too soon and get discouraged because you don't have the data or the spend going.
Yeah,
That's
and you should have optimized campaigns to begin with already, right? Because like if there's other low hanging fruit within your ads, right, then you should work on fixing that first before you jump into this like added thing. So if your if your conversion rates are low, if you have other problems, you need to think about how you can fix those other problems or improve those other things. I think before you go and implement Amazon Marketing Cloud, because if you have poor conversion rate, it might improve somewhat for this audience, but it's not, you still have a problem in the business that you need to fix first.
Yeah, beyond the ACoS, right? It's conversion
Yeah.
rate and comparing your brand to the other brands in your category for your
Yes.
conversion rate. Don't just
Yes.
decide because you're at above 6%, you're at 10%, you're good. You have to compare.
Right. Yes.
For sure. You mentioned that you sell on Amazon. You've been selling since 2014, so you're on your 11th year. Congratulations. Awesome. What was your biggest, or what's one, it's hard to pick your biggest, what's one of the aha moments that really changed your trajectory to success? Because I know it was a bumpy road.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've had ups and downs in terms of selling. Aha moments. I mean, I would say even when I started doing like retail arbitrage when I first started, and it was a side hustle. I had an online insurance agency, life insurance agency before selling on Amazon. So this was like a side hustle for me in selling it. I didn't even know about private label or manufacturing in China or anything. I started with like arbitrage. But the aha moment, I guess, starting out was just, it was the ability to have a business where you were making money in your sleep, kind of a thing, right? Like I, had the, the products, shipped them in, etc. And, I didn't have to be actively doing something in order to make money, even though, of course, there's a lot of work involved. And, I don't think this is like a passive income business. You need to be active in it. But that was an aha moment. And then some other moments I've had, seeing things like a couple of times where I had like a deal of the day and like doing 6 figures in sales on like a deal, and these like moments where you just like see the insane potential of the wide reach you have when you're selling on Amazon. And I would say along the way, it's also the brands and the people that I've seen completely change their life. People that had started a brand and were fortunate enough to sell during the great what is it, the aggregator bubble. When they sold their brand for 5, 6, 7x of EBITDA, and cashed out millions of dollars from starting in like a poster business, some like ridiculous kind of like products that you wouldn't think would end up being a 7-figure sale, that I've seen people along the way completely change the trajectory of their life in terms of what they're doing. So just like amazing opportunity. And I think despite all, as much as we want to complain about Amazon, you and I would not be sitting here with our careers and what we do if it wasn't for Amazon. And I think that's for a lot of people listening. So I just think over time you need to be able to evolve, and I think today you need to figure out how you can get branded searches into Amazon from social and influencers and other things that you did not have to do in 2014 when I started selling. 2015, 2016 I launched my first private label brand. You didn't really need to run ads in order to get sales. You just launch a product and you can give away unlimited amount of units for reviews, do all these things that you can't do anymore. But I can say that every year throughout that process, like in 2018 people said it's too late to sell on Amazon, and then in 2020 people said it's too late to sell on Amazon, and now people say is it too late to get started selling on Amazon, etc. I think that the opportunity is there. You do have to have different strategies though over time in order to make it work. And right now actually in the process of ideating a new brand as well. So I mean, I still still think there's opportunities, to launch products on Amazon and do well.
There really is, and I always have to like slow my brain back from wanting to launch too many products and too many brands. I'm like, stay in my current brand and keep the
Yes.
hustle alive. I love it you said daily deals, right? It's like the hustle is still the adrenaline rush from the hustle is
Yes.
still alive.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's, super exciting to, watch your sales and see, what you could do. For me now, it's also a lot seeing what our clients, are able to do, and seeing, year-over-year results and their growth and like how we're able to, contribute to their to their growth, and some other brands that I advise that are in D2C and just like doing exciting things, getting into retail stores, and just seeing like other sides of the business, besides just the Amazon side.
Just Amazon for sure. And you have brands around the globe, right?
We have clients around the globe that we work with, but personally, the brands I'm involved in are currently selling just in the U.S., just in the U.S. market. But we have clients that are selling, yes, in Europe, U.S., Canada, etc. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how big is your team at Incrementum?
So we have about 65 people around the world, and all remote. So it's pretty fun. We try to get together different times, or at least different parts of the team get together in different parts of the world. But it's been about 5 years or so now with Incrementum, and yeah, it's been my favorite part is working with the team, working with brands, and seeing the impact that we can make growing a brand, and seeing their trajectory. We have a client that I've worked with. I started working with them like directly 2019, even before Incrementum, and then we've been managing their ads since 2019, and they went from under $2 million in sales to like 30 million plus in sales, like over that time.
Wow.
And it's, just amazing to watch. And, we had something to do with it. We run all the ads, but, obviously, guys that run it are really talented at, selecting products and sourcing and, doing all that. And it's amazing to watch, like two young guys basically that, just went from, under 2 million to 30 plus million. But,
Awesome.
even then, I think a lot goes to your vision. Even early on, they said, yeah, we want to build $100 million brand. Like we don't have any intention of selling. We don't have any, that's our goal. And yeah, pretty amazing. They can certainly get there.
Yeah, they're on their way, and it's awesome that you get to be like a real partner. It's like you're on the team. You're in.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to celebrate the wins. Sometimes not as fun to when there's like account suspended or things that go wrong. Obviously, it's not all roses. People have a lot of challenges selling on Amazon as well.
Yeah.
But we try to be there and try to help our clients as much as we can, whether it's on the difficult challenges, or when you're just like celebrating wins. We had one client this year that not only they went from, they were 30 million last year, they did 38 million this year, but the biggest thing is like they went from a 21% tacos last year to like a 16% tacos this year. So not only did they increase their revenue, but they improved their metrics, a lot more organic sales. We pulled back on some of their branded, like just different strategies that we use this year to really help them. And it's amazing to to see that, and honestly, a testament more to my team than to me, who's like managing the account, and like it's amazing to see the success they're able to have with it.
That's awesome. And hey, it's hard to lead a team of 65, so give yourself some credit too. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. I love it. And I have, great people that are, on our leadership team that are, helping make sure everything goes smooth. So
That's awesome. Well, congrats on all your success, and of course your brand success. That's amazing. It's been such an honor to have you on the Adventure podcast. One last question I wanted to ask you, and then I'll let you go. But let's talk just a bit about how you're using AI and how you see it playing into advertising.
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, we're using AI in a lot of areas of our business. Even from small things where we might have somebody overseas who's using their AI to be able to better communicate with a customer, or using AI to write better cases to Amazon for appeals and getting something back up, or we developed like a knowledge base of like seller support that we can access with AI and write prompts and get responses back, and see what's happening. So we're using AI in a lot of ways in our business. We've experimented with using AI and using AI for things like keyword research, and with like Jungle Scout API, and like just a variety of things in the business. With advertising, I think that there's going to be so first, with advertising, you can use, and we've used AI to like even better understand products, right? Like, take a look at this ASIN on this link, and who's the target audience, and what give me like what questions should I be asking about this product, and what are some potential negative keywords, and like interacting with AI around products. Obviously, you can use it to write copy and etc.
Sure.
You can also use look at Rufus and see what questions it's asking on like competitor listings and your listings to, make sure you have those like answers. You're addressing those like prompts that Rufus is giving people to like ask about a product within your listing. I think ultimately, with advertising, where the future is going is to be able to use like AI agents that will be able to do certain tasks for you and go right into, Seller Central, or even like, for example, go create this campaign, do this and this and that, right? Instead of like, just give like a prompt, natural language, and you'll be able to it'll just create the campaign for you, or it'll do exactly what you're telling it, like as an AI agent. I also think you will have AI that allows you to query or ask questions, right? Like, how did this campaign do? Show me this report, or like give me a summary of what's happening. Find negative keywords, like do all these things for me, where you can kind of like interact with it, as opposed to, I think how software is built today. It's a little bit different from that, but I think that's kind of the evolution that we're going to see, over the next year or so, as people, I think, go kind of all in on AI agents. And, I think you'll see that as more of a component of probably software, and also from Amazon side, in terms of allowing you to like ask questions, and hopefully Amazon, rolls that out. If not, I think software companies will, where you can, ask questions and just like see the data that you want faster, easier. And so, yeah, it's going to be exciting in terms of, I think, what the capabilities will be with AI to make you more productive, more efficient, be able to do things faster, and see things that you might miss because of what AI is allowing you to do.
Yeah, great answer. Yes. I haven't heard that answer yet, and that it would be so helpful. for sellers, myself
Yes.
and you, just to be able to ask those data points.
Yes.
Yeah, great answer.
Thank
Well,
you.
now I'm gonna have to check back with you in,
Uh-oh.
towards the Q4 and see if that's developed yet.
Right. Okay, that sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Liran. It was awesome to have you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.